Hello, my name is Dominic Gonzalez, and tonight I'll be your anchorman. Tonight, we investigate a story about a man who kicks his dog for his treats. And also, we take a look back on the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. Over 30 years has passed since the Russians invaded Afghanistan, and many questions have arisen since the bitter war between the Russians and the Mujahideen. We now go to our reporter, Ralph Moss, for more in this story.
Thank you, Dominic. Now, in 1972, when Russian parachuters dropped into Afghanistan and appointed Hazifullah Amin as the new president, Afghani freedom fighters known as the Mujahideen began to slowly emerge and become more and more aggressive towards the Russians. They had gotten so large that they declared a holy war on Amin, and not only Amin, but also the Russian army, until the end of 1989, which marked the end of the conflict. With the Russians setting up their own satellite state in Afghanistan, a lot of Afghanis didn't come to terms with that. A lot of them actually rebelled against it because they knew with the Russians coming in and setting up a satellite state in their country, communism would follow. And with communism, there's no religion. And the Afghanis go from having an Islamic state set up, which a large population are Islamic, to having a no religious society set up that is completely devoted to their government. We now go to our interviewer, Chris Seaton, who's actually in the studio right now, a few rooms down, talking to a Soviet soldier who was in the war and the bitter struggle itself.
Sugar Vladimir, nice to have you here.
Nice to meet you.
First of all, what led up to the war?
It all started with the Cold War situation, of course. We wanted communism worldwide, biggest sphere of influence, and we wanted to overthrow our opposition, the U.S. The blow of that, the communism worked. So we started close, Afghanistan, of course, and we made our first impressions by parachuting into the capital. They were scared but then blessed, and we imported Chancellor Hazifullah Amin, and we named the government after him. And from there on, he's began to spread our sphere of influence of communism, which we wanted. Some of the country leftly began to like it and got into it and forbid the old traditions. But most of the country, they began to band together into the guerrilla groups, Mujahideen. And they declared a war on us. We thought it was a petty. It was a little gun. Ho ho, we laugh. So they began using the guerrilla tactics, the landscape. We were not familiar with it. We haven't been there as much. We weren't familiar. Then over time, we started taking heavy casualties, and they beat us. They beat us, and it can matter of years, even with that superior equipment. And even with the helicopters, the napalm, the poison gas, they beat us.
So Vladimir, how did you become into the Russian Special Forces?
During my training, I devoted all of my energy into communism, socialism. It was the great paradise, they called it. The more we devoted, the more it was gonna be spread. It was spread the joy around the world. You see, we devoted all my time to the military to protect the country. Over time, I went up and up and up. I became the special forces, the Spetsnaz. My training did help against the guerrillas. I mean, don't get me wrong, my training was very high up there, but it was different. The training was very little. The equipment was very poor. Fighting them was they were ghosts. One minute they were shooting at us, so they ambushed us with me and my comrades. Another moment they were gone, and a few of us were dead or wounded. It was terrible. Even then, after that, they started becoming more of an influence, and the other Islamic countries began gaining support. Pakistan started helping them. Even our opposition, the U.S., started sending them missiles. Missiles for, they started taking out helicopters. That was our main transport. And it just over time, it just took a toll on us.
Thanks for your time, Vladimir. Now we have two experts on the war that we're going to cut to. We're going to get their perspective on the war and let them debate each other on how the Mujahideen won the war. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you, Chris. Long ago, my father was part of the Mujahideen. And as I grew up during the war, I became interested with politics. I learned of the Amin government, the Soviet Union's involvement, and the US's involvement with the war, and the Mujahideen's tactics on battling the Soviets.
Thank you, Chris. I was at the time a Soviet war general fighting against the Mujahideen from my command post when I was stationed there. I also knew what was going on a lot at the time. I was very high in the government area, also because I was part of the military wing of the branch of socialism and communism. So I knew much of what our country was getting into. We really should have not gone over there. It was too much. They were too radical, too righteous of their own Islamic beliefs. So it was very. I knew from the very beginning it was going to be really hard to turn them over to communism. And I proved to be right, because that soon backfired on us. It soon proved to be a downfall. But it also, another big part is that we are also in economic turmoil. Sorry. Later on there was Khrushchev's reforms were they were just dragging our economy down, and over time it just fell apart, which was another bad thing. Is the added on sort of fallout.
Nice to meet you, General. Now, the Soviet Union had their own Vietnam, no doubt, and I believe that we want to show willpower from our allies from Pakistan. And the use of our guerrilla tactics from the geography of the land really helped us. Now, your Soviet Union army just couldn't stand the show willpower of our rebel force. And the geography of the land just messed you up. We used bombs, IEDs, just really all on the mountains to really draw you guys out from our home cities.
Not to mention the fact that the US helped your US allies helped the Stinan missiles to take out our gunships all the time. I mean, it was the biggest hassle I've ever seen in war with the guerrilla tactics. It's out of nowhere, kaboom, take out our gunships, just all the time. It was just waste of money, waste of lives. There's also we did have one to take you on though, and the geography of your guerrilla tactics. And that's the poison gas bombs, the napalm. That was the best clearing you out, I'm sure of. I've seen it in action, trust me. So you don't bring a good idea though, or side fact about using nuclear tactics against us. It causes big commotions with my men all the time.
I agree, General. Our guerrilla tactics for you guys was just too much. You'd pop out of holes out of nowhere and you guys just didn't know where we were. Also, another thing that you guys were trying to implement in our society was an atheist society in our country. In our country, we have a very strict religion. In my opinion, it was the ultimate mistake of your strategies for most of the country. It was already deep within the religion of Islam.
My thoughts exactly on your opinion, Kebab. For I knew in the back of my mind that there was going to be a mistake with going to the country anyway. It was overall the whole time over there was just a big waste of time. With every casualty is money, just too much loss of life. It was not worth it at all. Even with the equipment we used, it was not working. It was not going to work out. They stood with the religion. They were even if they were high righteousness of staying with the religion, Islam. And even I knew in the back of my head the surrounding countries are joining sooner or later and just fuel the forces. It was just going to be a disaster from the start. Even with this, during the 85 and beyond, I started said it earlier, but Khrushchev was already passing the reforms. And it was like I said, it caused economic turmoil. And it was just another reason why should we be here? Anyway, soon after, the economic turmoil just turned us over, and we had to go. We dropped our troops and we had to win. And so we had to go tend to our homeland after that, and you can see that didn't help out. So until 91, it just fell apart. So we did the best we could.
Wow. Fascinating with all the turmoil that happened over there, and it still turned out as a win for the Mujahideen. Tonight at 11, we look more into a story from a deranged history teacher that kicked his dog for his treats. Good night from here at Channel 13. Don't just have an amazing night, Have an American night.